they're changing into a different piece. They're not going to be themselves anymore. It's like, you know, am I myself if I change into someone else? Like, it's existential questions for the pawns.
It's what we do here on this channel, tackle the big existential questions, and today with a 4-queen game we've got 2 more existential questions about the pawns to answer. It's on the way. Hans Niemann kicks off with the king pawn, best by test. He's the world number 9 at Blitz on chess.com right now, has been top 3, he's a beast. But he's playing Pragg, India number 2 maybe. Incredible player in his own right. This is exciting. They're in India. It's the Blitz portion of this tournament ongoing. Tata Steel, Rapid and Blitz. This is exciting. Aroy Lopez from Hans, one of his favourites. Bishop kicked back here. What a finish we've got. Let's talk about this move. The Kotsio, or Kotsio, not sure, variation it's called. Bit different. You normally get some knight f6 action. Let's see the point. It rotates round, but you give white this free hand in the centre. You're not actually challenging for it. Bit like the old cow opening that Anna Cramling plays, right? Is it good? You're not completely fighting for these squares. Bit suspicious. Surely you take with the pawn now. Very playable. This is just a different game. But it shows how good the opening is for white, because Niemann still gets the advantage. He's still got the central pawn, the better space here. Bit of an offside knight, you could say. And the natural d6 not working because of all the pressure here. If you take, well, you connect the pawns. Not ideal. A great wall of Niemann will be erected. So queen e2's played. Covers that knight hop. Also, of course, sprays in this direction. b5 now kicks this one back. And a5. An unusual move, right? You know, you can go d6. Can you develop this way? Maybe. Apparently not so good. I mean, you have to be careful. Sometimes the bishop stands better on this diagonal. It's subtle. Usually, if in doubt, castle's not a bad move. They say a5 from Pragg, though, modern chess, and f4 from Hans Niemann. He roars like the mighty chess lion that he is. What a set of lungs he's got on him. Knight c4, of course. I mean, you have to do something active here, and so takes is played. Pawn recaptures. Let's ask the obvious and important question. Why not eat a pawn? Well, you can. We're in the back cave here. Bishop's attacked. Let's say it backs off. Here's a quick sample line. Now, you don't have to play this straight away. You know, threat's worse than the execution. I dare you to castle. Then you're going to get bamboozled. White goes queenside. You can run the pawn. This is counterplay, baby. Who wants this when you could have something much better instead of a drafty king being attacked? So, let's back up. Bishop's also for black in that line. In this line, in fact, this is a much more controlled move. Leave the pawn. Let it sit. Focus on the centre. Focus on the development. Focus on castling those kings. Quick king safety fist bump between the players. Exploded out. Here's what it looks like when it goes wrong. Possibly that's actually Pragg in that clip. I forget. It was from like 4 or 5 years ago. The good old COVID times, not. Now we see d5. It's the top move. It fights for the centre. You have to do something. And who's playing this? Hands up. Everyone in his chess dog, right? So does Niemann. Apparently not best. You know, there were other ways to play knight c2 and stuff, but this is so natural. However, rook e8. Okay, not yet played. Should have been played, sorry. Good move, because it makes it a little bit hard to then achieve f5. Let's crack on. This bishop backs up. Now we see knight c6 to hit the queen. Niemann looks all over the place. Good way to get your opponent to blunder. Never look him in the eye. And now we see queen d7. Spotted by Pragg. Fair play. Bishop takes on b6. If you recapture, the natural recapture, then this guy is a monster. The rook can soon come, support the pawn. Maybe you support the pawn again. You know, you have to overprotect e5, but then you're soon very ready to rumble with f5. The knight's too strong, controlling the square. Hence, queen takes knight. Best move, positional concepts at play. Yes, white now has this unopposed, dark squared, wooden shield bishop, but it's blocked by its own pawn, and this is a critical move. Stop the f5 break, fight for this light square here. That's why rook f2. This is on the way. It soon comes on the board anyway. First Pragg hits the half open file. Pawn b3, of course. Now we see bishop d3. But bone in the throat of Hans Niemann. So he moves the queen out of there, and knight e7 back. Again, fighting for key squares. What would you play here? Yes, sirree, g4. Now we do know that with great space comes great responsibility. Feels a good time to show the clip of Peter Parker snivelling away like a little baby. However, here it's justified. It's important to fight for the square despite the vacuum you create behind, despite how you weaken the king potentially later on. And now a mistake, rook fe8, but it's blitz, fine, not easy. Queen g6 actually best. Hit the pawn, let's say it's covered like this, top move, then queen h6. You don't find this subtle stuff in blitz. G5 is positionally horrendous. You just don't give that square. And if f5, cracking on with the space gain, well, the key thing is the queens come off. White still has a load of space, but with queens off, it's anyone's guess. Real counterplay for black here. Sorry, there goes the phone again. By the way, side note, the person who just WhatsApped me is actually a long time watcher of the channel, got in touch some time back, lives local, we had a drink, blah, blah, blah. Shout out to that person watching. It is always great to hear from everyone, emails, comments, all that stuff. Thank you for the support you give me each and every day, each and every month. Rook fe8 is played. It's a mistake of a move. Advantage shoots up, plus 1.3. That's the risk of these kind of openings, right? You're always up against it. White's got the space here, and the usually stinky f6 is played. Sure enough, it's an absolute stinker in this position. Lord Hans Feingold's not impressed. Best is actually takes. Now, it's a risky move to play because you have to start calculating. You know, what if knight f5? And this and this and this, is your position collapsing? Well, this is a great move. I mean, queen f4 also really good, but you're threatening mate if the knight moves. Hence why you can't take the bishop or something. And white's doing really well. You know, monstrous position. Knight's also attacked and it can't move or you mate. So okay, that was best. This not working. But this was played. Such an understandable decision. They're low on time. Niemann's a minute ahead. But watch how Pragg fights. This is why he's a top player. They do not give in. You have to beat them and beat them and beat them again on the board. Let's keep it clean, please. Bishop c5 could be played. Good move, but Niemann goes for Chewbacca's favourite move, the Wookiee one. Seahorse now spawned, pressuring here. Bishop c5 playable, but Niemann's like, I don't care. Take the bishop. I'm going for the king. This is what he does so well. He just goes for the throat right. Really great attacking player, not afraid to mix it up. Queen e7 goes for some defensive here and here, and now h4. Throw in the kitchen sink, as we say in this country. Does that get said all over the world? I don't know. a4 takes here. Pawn recaptures, of course. Keep this one really cemented. Maybe the c-pawn's dangerous later. Knight e4 hop in, and what an absolute stallion it is. You can't live with that. Hence why the bishop takes. It was also a mighty piece, but the knight was mightier. Now we see takes, and it's not about pawn recaptures. Even that's not bad for white. You know, you are opening lines against your own king, but Niemann goes super direct here. H5's apparently best. Let's crack on. F6 punches through. Given the question right, but horrible move to face on seconds. Fine, takes, blitzed out, has to be played, is the best move. Now we see takes here, again going for the line openings. If takes, is it rook f7 maybe? Yes, and you're getting mated or losing your queen. This is a check as well after recaptures. So no takes. This is good by Pragg. Excellent, in fact. Queen g7. Pins. You'd love to take. Connects the pawns, but you can't. So e7's on the board. d5 was stronger, but this is blitz chess. Don't take with check. Bang, counter check, counter punch, ouchie. So we get instead rook b5. I didn't check this. What's the problem? Queen d5 check, king h8. Okay, rook f7. Fine, fine, fine. Let's run back. This was lifted. Going for some counter, but lovely move. d5 interrupts that connection. Rook b6 back. Really, really staunch defense from Pragg here. Or staunch, is it staunch? Sorry, staunch defense. Holding the fort, low on time. Rook d6 blockades the pawn. No discovered checks for you, sir. Rook f5 hits a couple points. Takes. Pawn lost. And Niemann shed his advantage. Now let's not go down all the stuff. There were many moments where he could have done better, played better. It's blitz chess. Good defense from Pragg. Even though the computer gives it level, however, let's be real here. Look at these pawns. It's white with the advantage. Is white going to push? If this rook moves, that goes. This is loose. The evaluation is very misleading. Check. Now the king goes. Lots of checks. But you can't keep checking. Again, the counter punch. You can't take the pawn. This is lost. Discovered check. Pawn runs. There isn't a perpetual. King eventually runs and hides, you know, all the way around or something. This is the game. King f8, takes, rook loose, check, king goes. You didn't have to worry that time. The king's moved off g8. This is how things went. Pawn 1, check. This is the game. Hang on a minute. These queens, going into the blender here, how are we getting the 4 queens? You're about to see. Pragg plays an excellent move. Takes. Now he had other moves, but this is some nice calculation, seeing that by the time the white king gets around, his own pawn is running away like prime Yasser Serwan, and we reach the moment where we have to ask the question, in the words of Ray Robson, what's going through the minds of the pawns?
They're changing into a different piece. They're not going to be themselves anymore. It's like, you know, am I myself if I change into someone else? Like, it's existential questions for the pawns.
Deep stuff. Deep, deep stuff there. Do let me know your thoughts. We're at Mariana Trench levels right now. Both players queen. The 4th queen on the board after this one. What a game. Check. This king given the runaround, and Niemann nabs a pawn here. He's won to the good. Check. Now the big question is, can you keep perpetual checking the white king, stop the progress of the pawn, and not let the queens be exchanged? It's an almost impossible task, and Pragg goes wrong already after just a few moves, showing how difficult it is for a 2750 plus guy, top 10 in the world. He plays queen d2, given the double question marks of doom, because queen d5 check, of course. You set up the right angle. These are about to leave the board. King takes, and the pawn's running. King can't get back. You're not inside the old square, as they call it, but even, or maybe that's the square. But even if you were, what is going on? Even if you were, this guy would shoulder you out, as they say. Shouldering. Another chess term. Maybe it's coming up on screen right now with the card. Let's have a quick check. Do we have shouldering coming up? Yes, we do. Let me quickly turn this over for you so you can see what this means. Shouldering. Trying to right click. Okay, not working. But anyway, if you actually flip the cards over, I'll give an example of that. You can see when you would use this term in a game, how it gets used, what it means exactly. That's the power of these cards on screen. Chess with Cards is the product itself. You can get the link down in the description below. They'll send you the cards. There's a book of it, which I've got here as well for you to see. And it helps you understand chess concepts in a visual way. It's very powerful for learning, teaching. I wasn't even going to talk about it, but it just sort of came to my mind here. Lots of people are enjoying them, using them. Very worth a look if you're trying to improve your chess in a more fun visual way or help someone else. Let's jump back to the chess here. Final position was this. Pragg resigned, move 65. That was round 1 of the Blitz. It's all ongoing now. Maybe I'll bring a couple more games, but I've got an incredible Magnus Faustino game to recap coming later. Look out for that. If you want to see some more epic chess, take a look at the video on screen, and thanks very much for watching. Cheers.